Mm. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the pre-season test ahead of the 2023 GP4 Formula E Offline Championship. And we are here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Spain for what will be Blake Moore's first stream as a Formula E host. And, well, he's currently with me at the moment.
Hello everyone. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is literally my first time ever hosting an OC race. Well, yeah, I'm currently excited and currently shaking. So yeah, I'm just that's what I'm feeling at the moment.
Well, we did notice before the stream began that there was some red bars of death, but hopefully it's not going to be too bad during this. I'm not sure how long the session is. Can you
It's around
clarify that,
40
Blake?
minutes. 40 minutes. It's fine.
Okay, 40-minute session. Okay, that's good. So, anyway, I guess without further ado, I think people can see it on the screen, can't they? Have you not done the tab yet? Because we're currently on the weather screen. But
Obviously.
yeah, you have. Good, good, good. Yep, we're up. Okay, so I think without further ado, then let's get underway with preseason testing for Formula E. And well, hopefully we'll be in for a very exciting season. Of course, this is the first preseason test since 2021. I did make a mistake during the Top Car stream when I said it was 2020. It's not. It's 2021 because I forgot that Yuri did actually have a preseason test. It's 35 minutes actually. It says on there. So well, it's 5 minutes more than what Yuri did a couple of seasons ago. So I guess that's okay. So 35-minute session here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, and well, hopefully be in for a good session. And I forgot to mute that on my Discord there, so might have heard a bit of an echo on my end there, so apologies for that. But we're about to get underway then for testing, and the first one on the track will be Nguyen Minh Quan in the Envision Virgin racing car now then. And yeah, that's that really. And well, Flo just giving you a little bit of a message down below there, Blake, saying don't worry about it, you'll be fine. Because he had the same sort of nerves as he did when he first started hosting DTM. And to be fair, I had the same sort of nerves as well, Blake. But don't worry, as soon as you get a few streams under your belt, you should be okay. But anyway, whilst Kwan is out there on the racetrack, we might as well go through the driver lineup then for 2023, because there's been a lot of changes, and of course some changes in terms of the groups for this season. So let's start off then. We'll go in the teams in garage order then. Starting off with the reigning champions, Jaguar Racing. They have a new lineup for 2023, despite the fact that they won the title last season. This is due to the fact that both of Jaswant Kumar and, of course, the reigning champion,
Stepniczka.
Jacob Stepniczka, yep, failed to sign up to any series at all. So they've got a new lineup, and you can see one of the drivers on the screen. One of their drivers being Zachary Fitzwater, who moves over from World Champ Car, and his teammate will be Jamie Griffiths, who moves over from the top class after a tricky 2022 season, looking to redeem himself here in Formula E, and hopefully with a team that can fight for the title, just like last season. Moving over to Nissan Edams then, obviously Alan Jefferson, who took part in the final race of the season last season, he remains with the team for another season after a very strong race there, so he's there for the full campaign, and his teammate, as you can see on the screen, is 2018 DTM champion Rosetta Martinez, who, like with Zachary Fitzwater, also moves over from World Champ Car, so hopefully Nissan can have a strong season as well. And I've just realised as well that they are the wrong way around, the Jefferson and Martinez car, so that will have to be sorted out before the season began. Clearly Yuri sent them the wrong... No, don't worry, it's not you, Blake. I think Yuri might have sent them the wrong way around, but it's alright, it can get easily fixed, because luckily we don't have any numbers anymore in the series, of course. Moving over to the Audi Sport App Schaeffler Formula E team, a team that it's fair to say that didn't have the best of seasons last season, although they were in the title fight. They missed out on both championships. The team has got a brand new lineup for this season as a result of Brandon Jackson not signing up to any series outside of the top class, and also the fact as well that Robert Ionescu has moved over to World Champ Car. Their new lineup consists of Koichi Chion, you can see on the screen, another driver who's also got the wrong 3-litre prefix on the top, so maybe something to sort out before the first race. But we have Koichi Chiong, who moves over from the Andretti team, looking to try and compete for the title in a Group 1 car. And his teammate is Daniel Adventure, who moves over from Mercedes. Moving over, speaking of which, to Mercedes, and they are a team who have been demoted to a Group 2 team for this season. So maybe they'll be hoping to put in some performances like they did in the likes of Envision Virgin Racing and of course Venturi did last season. They've got a new lineup consisting of Marat Patacek, who moves over from World Champ Car, and his teammate is Bella Neuville, who moves over from the Neo team and looking to do a good job with the Group 2 Mercedes. Moving over to the what we now know as the Siemens Venturi Racing, a new sponsor for them after ditching Rocket at the end of the season, and they are now a Group 1 team, so in theory this team should be fighting for the title this season. Ko Chung Cheong remains with the team for another season and looking to compete with the title like his brother Koichi Cheong, and also another team that's also got the 3-letter prefixes the wrong way. Oh no, they have, sorry. But his teammate, as you can see on the screen, is Alex Eric Lucian, another driver who has moved over from World Champ Car and goes into second place with that time there, slotting in behind Jay McKenzie, who's of course in a Group 2 car. We'll get onto that in a little bit, but Venturi hoping for a good season now that they are a Group 1 team. Moving over to Envision Virgin Racing, another team that's got a brand new lineup for this season as a result of Rafael Demal moving over to World Champ Car and Sana Chue moving over to Formula 2. Their new lineup consists of Ruslan Protsi, who returns to Formula A from Formula 2 for a third stint, and also with a third stint with his old team Virgin Racing. And his new teammate for this season, as we saw a little bit earlier on, is Nguyen Min Kwan, who moves over from DS Cheetah. Speaking of which, DS Cheetah are next on the list. Owen Carpenter, as you can see on the screen, remains with the team for another season, but he has a new teammate in the form of the man who's just topped the timing sheets at the moment, and that is Jay McKenzie, the two-time top class champion, moves over from DTM after a tricky couple of seasons in the touring car series. So Jay McKenzie with a new adventure here in Formula E. Moving over then to their next team, which is of course Andretti Formula E. Now, they have been demoted once again, this time to a Group 3 team, and as a result, they have a new lineup consisting of 2 new rookies. Plus, as a result of Koichi Cheong obviously moving over to Audi, and hold the fort because we've got a yellow flag. We've got a yellow flag into the first corner. Who is that? And it's Dylan Allen. Oh, Dylan Allen, who's gone for a spin, and it looks like it's either a I don't think it's a mechanical failure. I think he's made a mistake into the first corner here, Blake.
He just made a mistake. Off he goes into the beach. That is very ironic while you're talking about them, and Dylan Allen's just immediately just been there, and yeah, that's a bit ironic.
Yeah, well, as I was saying there, Koichi Cheong, of course, obviously moving over to Audi for this season, and his teammate from last season, of course, being Marvo Koenig, he's obviously moved over to Formula 2 for this season. So their new lineup is 2 new rookies, consisting of Brazilian Murilo Souza, who you can see on the screen, and the man who we just saw earlier on just go off into the gravel trap, that being Dylan Allen. 2 rookies, Murilo Souza from Brazil, and Dylan Allen from South Africa, the first South African driver in the OC, I think, since, 2010 in DTM, if I'm not mistaken. And Flo's obviously in the stream chat. You can obviously double check on that one if you can. And Dylan Allen is still in the gravel as we speak at the moment. Hopefully he's not beached it. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure... Do you have the spare car banning this, Blake? I'm just wondering out of curiosity.
Oh, crap.
It doesn't matter. If you haven't got it, it doesn't matter. We can just remember it for the season ahead. So Dylan Allen can just take a spare car for this, and then we can just remember the first season. But Dylan Allen is his teammate for this season, as he's currently stuck in the gravel trap as we speak at the present moment. Have you just paused the game, in fact? Returned to Scott. I think you pressed the wrong button there. So ignore that. Blake just pressed the wrong button there. But anyway... back to the action. Anyway, that's Andretti sorted out. So moving over to the Tag Heuer Porsche Formula E team. Once again, a Group 3 team for this season. Hoang Min Nguyen, who of course got points for the team in the last race of the season. He remains with the team for another season, but he's got a new teammate in the form of Adrian Schlegel, who becomes the first Liechtenstein driver to compete in the OC. The rookie hoping to have a good first season in the OC. Moving over to Mahindra Racing, who have now become a Group 2 team. They've been promoted to a Group 2 team. Cesar Cohen Jr. remains with the team for another season, but he has a new teammate as a result of Cass Morgan, now known as Rowan Morgan, moving over to DTM. His new teammate, as you can see on the screen, is the experienced Swede Miran FG, and he'll be hoping for a good time in Formula E, and I think Dylan Allen has now either just got out of the gravel trap or he has been retrieved by the marshals. I'm not 100% sure, unless we can find him on the racetrack. It looks like he's been retrieved by the marshals, but of course we don't have the spare car ban for this preseason test, so he'll be allowed to come back in the session, of course. But of course, when the season starts, the spare car ban will be a thing. I just thought I would point that one out to you. But that is the Mahindra team, and finally, last but certainly not least, is the Neo 333 FE team. Like with Andretti, they've got an all rookie lineup as well, as a result of Bella Neuville moving over to Mercedes, and who was a teammate last season? I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, it was Jacob Tobler, who has not signed up to any series, as far as I understand. Yeah. But their new lineup consists of Lithuanian driver Jakubas Garaitis, the first Lithuanian driver to compete in the OC since the 2017 BTCC season. Richard Cassetta, I think his name was, from memory. And his teammate for this season is the Vietnamese rookie Van Dot Lu. So we actually have 3 Vietnamese drivers on the grid for this season, joining Hoang Min Nguyen and Nguyen Minh Quan. So he'll be hoping to have a good rookie season. That is the lineup for the 2023 Formula E season. I should point out as well, whilst we were talking a little bit there, that like with Yuri when he hosted it, 14 cars will go out at a time, and that is just to avoid a little pit lane glitch that we've had in the past, and it's the same applies with Blake here as a result. But looking to be a very strong lineup for your first season here, Blake.
Yeah, I wasn't to be honest, I wasn't expecting Jay freaking McKenzie of all people to join this season. Even Jamie Griffiths, I thought, oh, this is just gonna be a bunch of drivers which are complete almost nobody. It has some truth holds in them, but no, I got Jay freaking McKenzie on my first run. I am actually terrified. God damn it.
Yeah, indeed. What a way to make your debut as a host, indeed, to have Jay McKenzie in the series, the 2-time top-class champion, and he'll be hoping for a redemption in the Group 2 tech teacher, of course. He's currently getting held up by the returning Ruslan Protsy, who returns to Formula E after a couple of seasons, or a few seasons, I should say, in Formula 2, which didn't go exactly according to plan for him, it must be said. Well, we've talked about the driver lineup, but we might as well talk about the calendar, because, well, there are some drastic changes from what we happened, and from when Yuri hosted it, of course, because we've had an increase from 9 races to 11 races, with 2 reserve rounds as well, which we will get on to a little bit later after I've read the 11 races that we are scheduled to go to this season, providing we've not got any issues whatsoever, of course. So the first race of the season, which will take place not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, so on the 6th of August, will be the Sao Paulo E-Prix over at Interlagos, so no changes to the first race there. Then round 2, which will be 2 weeks later, will once again be the Mexico City E-Prix at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, so 2 weeks after the Sao Paulo E-Prix. Then round 3, which will take place 3 weeks later on the 10th of September, will be the New York E-Prix at the Watkins Glen International, and it'll be the first ever time that an OC fraternity will actually race at Watkins Glen. No other series has actually competed around Watkins Glen, so the Formula E fraternity will be the first to do it, and hopefully it should be quite an exciting race. And I am aware that Blake over here has done some extensive testing with that track as well. Same with this track. Round 4, which will take place 2 weeks after New York, will be the Cheshire E-Prix at Alton Park, the first ever time that the Formula E fraternity will race in the United Kingdom, and it will take place at Alton Park, a track which in the past for BTCC has been known for chaotic races, but I have been assured that with these cars it should be better, and I hope that is the case there, Blake.
Yeah, because 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 what I saw at the moment in the last, I think, 5 tests, I did. Some of them are like halfway ones. One of them is like a 4-1. I just saw that there were a lot more overtakes and less crashes because the touring car physics are a bit mesh on that track compared to the Formula physics. It worked really well. I'm not even exaggerating. 10 times better than the BTCC races ever competed at Alton Park. So let's hope Alton Park does not fail us. Hopefully.
Yep, and we can finally have a British round for Formula E because they've never had that before. Round 5, which will take place 2 weeks later on the 8th of October, will be the Magdeburg Prix at Oschersleben. And it's the first time since 2010, I believe, that the OC fraternity will race around Oschersleben. DTM actually raced there in 2010. I'm not sure how the racing was for the touring car lot back in 2010. I'm pretty sure Flo can give us a bit of an indicator, seeing as he's in the stream chat, of course, trying to take photographs for the Wikipedia pages for all of these drivers. But, yeah, I think it's fair to say that obviously it'll be nice to see Oschersleben back in the OC fraternity. Then a week later, round 6 of the championship on the 15th of October, will be the Lisbon Prix at the Circuito do Estoril circuit. Of course, as we've seen in the last couple of seasons, Blake, when you were doing commentary for this, always produces some good racing, and hopefully we should be in for another cracking race there when we go there in October.
Yeah, honestly, I hope Estoril. I think Estoril at the moment is actually a high list for racing at the moment, because I think what I heard is that DTM is actually Estoril is actually featured on the DTM calendar. So I think at some point in the next several seasons, I think Estoril is getting more and more races in the OC, which is pretty nice to see because Estoril produces some mad racing and no crashes. That's why I like it.
Yeah, indeed, and DTM, as you alluded to there, DTM is obviously also going to Estoril this season, becoming the Portuguese round instead of Portimao, so it should be quite an interesting one there when DTM goes there. Then a week later, on the 22nd of October, will be the Teruel Prix at Motorland Aragon, aka my favourite Spanish track, of course, and, well, last season when they raced there, of course, we saw Sana Chue pick up her first ever OC Fraternity victory in what was a race of attrition, it must be said, especially with Jacob Stepniczka, of course, who was leading the race, looking comfortable to get the victory, and then his engine obviously died, which allowed for a very intense scrap between 4 drivers for the victory towards the end of that race. Maybe we could expect more this season, but we'll have to wait and see. Then a week later, actually no, not a week later, in fact, scrap what I just said, 2 weeks later, on the 5th of November, will be the Rimini Prix at the Mazzano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. Formula E raced there last season, so it will be the second ever time that this series will race around at Rimini, and hopefully it should be a good race as well. Then round 9 will take place at the Okayama circuit, 2 weeks' time on the 19th of November at the Okayama circuit. Now, I've listed it as the Mimasaka Prix over on Wiki, but I do believe that Blake actually named it when he sent me to it, the Okayama Prix, because, just a clarification, of course, it was formerly known as the TIA circuit, but obviously in recent years, it's now known as the Okayama circuit. Why they changed the name, don't ask me, but that's that really. But it'll be nice to have Japan back on the calendar, and it'll be the first ever time that the OC fraternity will race around the Okayama circuit. And obviously, I will give a little bit of an insight. I think I even told you this, Blake, as well, that I was originally planning, I was actually testing the Okayama circuit to originally have on my calendar when I hosted Formula E in the past. And I noticed there was an issue with the pit lane when I tested it, but you've assured me that there's been no issues when you've been testing it, Blake.
Yeah, because what I heard was that the 1995 layout had the pit lane problem. And then I tested the 1994 version. It was honestly better. I ran the full race distance, the 49 laps. There was literally no issues with the pit lane. So yeah, it was really sorted because it was the 1995 layout that caused all its problems. So you might see a very different standing start because red, because instead of a 5 red lights, it'll just be red to green. So very different standing start at Okayama. And speaking of which, Cohen's Nunez gone up into 7th place.
Yeah, indeed, and now all 22 cars have done a lap because Neuville's just gone up into 16th position. But then, after the Okayama race, a week later, on the 26th of November will be the Manama E-Prix at the outer layout of the Bahrain International Circuit in Sakhir. Of course, used to play host to the finale for the last 2 seasons, but as you will see a little bit later, it's actually swapped places with another track. It's instead hosting the penultimate race of the season, because round 11, 2 weeks later, on the 10th of December, will be the Dubai E-Prix at the Dubai Autodrome. So, unlike the previous couple of seasons where it hosted the penultimate race, the Dubai Autodrome will instead host the finale this season around. And, well, Dubai has hosted some pretty good races in the past, and it should hopefully provide a very exciting finale.
And then, that's why I made the decision in the end, just to swap Dubai and Bahrain and the outer layout of Bahrain. Sure, the Bahrain outer layout is chaotic as hell. That's why some races are so fun there. But then again, that's why I kind of swapped it, because Dubai literally produces the better racing. Because sure, the outer layout of Bahrain is really cool to watch as a spectacle, but I mean, you can't really pass on it cleanly.
Yeah, indeed, and well, we've seen a lot of bump and runs there in the past and a few accidents as well, so I kind of understand your thinking there. But as I alluded to a little bit earlier on, we do have 2 reserve races for in case any of the 11 tracks that we just read out there run into problems. A little bit similar with the top class, with Kota being the reserve track. Formula E also has 2 reserve races. This being a race at the circuit Zolder, which would host the Husden-Zolder E-Prix, should it ever be called upon, and it would be the first ever time Formula E would race in Belgium if that were to be the case. And then the other one, we talked about it a little bit earlier on, would be the Portimao E-Prix at Portimao. Of course, it did host races the last couple of seasons, but now it's just resided to just being a reserve round for this season. But again, those 2 rounds that we talked about, Zolder and Portimao, will only be called upon if any of the 11 races run into problems.
Yeah, of course. Because the reason why I chose Zolder is Zolder 1982 layout, because to be honest, I think it's a little bit more quieter, but hey, at least it produces some form of really good racing. Because what I heard, what I captured, was at least three cars going into turn 1 on like the second lap. So yeah, some crazy shenanigans going on in Belgium. Probably some cooking some really good waffles over there.
Yeah, indeed, and hopefully we won't have to call upon these reserve races, but if we have to, then hopefully they produce some good races as well. But we might as well talk about some things whilst we're here as well, now that we've got all the admin stuff out of the way, I guess you could call it. I mean, that's what I normally nickname it anyway. But at the moment, we've got Coach Chun Cheong and the Venturi, who's at the top of the timing sheet, and we talked about it earlier on, they are now a Group 1 team now instead of a Group 2 team, and really the aim for both Coach Chun Cheong and, of course, his new teammate, which is obviously Alex Eric Lucy, and the aim is obviously clear. They'll be wanting to go for the title.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously Venturi dropped Rocket, and then they got moved up into Group 1, which is a massive boost for them. Honestly, this could be the best season of Venturi we could ever see in the OC. I mean, they could either fall off or be absolutely brilliant. This you could see Prime Venturi at its peak probably. So hopefully they have a really good season. Obviously powered by the Mercedes powertrains as well.
Ah, yes, indeed. And, well, you say that, but obviously it doesn't really matter, really. It's just a team now at the end of the day. I guess we'd just say the engines are just basically the same, but the teams can basically adjust it, basically. I guess that's the only realm I say, because as you may have noticed, I don't really put powertrains on the Wikipedia. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see, of course. And obviously, we'll be hoping that Venturi will have a good season out there, Group 1 team. And, well, that's that, really. But obviously, a team that's been demoted, well, a similar livery to the one that the Nissan's running there of Alan Jefferson, is, of course, the Mercedes. We talked about it earlier. They're now demoted to a Group 2 team for this season. And, well, after the tricky season that they had last season, it's no real surprise that they got a demotion, because really Razan and Adventure didn't really perform that well. Well, I'd say perform well. They were running into a lot of problems, and now they're going to be a Group 2 team for this season. So Nuavel and, of course, her teammate, Marat Patacek, will be hoping to drag some performances like we saw with the likes of, as I mentioned earlier, Virgin and even Venturi last season.
Yeah, this could be this will be the most challenging season for Mercedes yet. And, yeah, I think... Yeah. I think at the moment this could be the toughest season for Mercedes. If they can finish like at least 5th, it'll be back to form for them in the top tier of Formula E, of course.
Yeah, indeed, and well, they'll be hoping that they can just have a good season anyways. Newville's trying to overtake one of the Porsches here around that the left-hander, that being Hoa Min Nguyen, who was trying to she was trying to overtake there.
Rowan, the reason why Mahindras are going fast is because they're now a Group 2 team, buddy.
Yep. Yeah, indeed. They are. I was just going to bring that up. Mahindra, they are now a Group 2 team. They've now been promoted after a pretty solid season in the Group 3 pack, it must be said. And obviously Cohen and Morgan scoring some points for that team last season before getting beaten in the end by Porsche thanks to that 6th place finish that Hoa Min Nguyen achieved. But now they're a Group 2 team. We should expect them to maybe fighting towards the top end of the midfield.
Yeah, and also some really good drivers at the wheel, Cesar Cohen Jr. and Miran Ebji. I expect Mahindra to make some waves this season because to be honest, Cohen Jr. has outdriven her machine. Wait, what do you know is Cohen again? I forgot. Anyways, Cohen has definitely drove the socks off of that Mahindra last season. Hopefully, that Cesar Cohen Jr. can do it again this year in the Group 2 car.
Yeah, indeed, and I've just been clarified there by Rowan Morgan himself that he actually didn't score points. It was all Cesar Cohen Jr. last season, so he was the only point scorer for Mahindra last season, really. So, I kind of got that wrong there. I do apologise for that, but hopefully you can score points this time by Rowan, given that you're in DTM this season. But yeah, that's that. But obviously, with them being promoted to Group 2, it has meant that another team had to be demoted to Group 3, and unfortunately, for the second season in a row, it was Andretti. They got demoted to being a Group 2 team last season, and straight away they've been demoted now to a Group 3 team, really. And really, it was a disappointing season for them last season. So many issues that plagued the team last season, and now they're a Group 3 team. They've just got to hope that both Dylan Allen and Murillo Souza, the two rookies, can actually perform well with that car.
Yeah, indeed, and also what just happened now is that Eric Lucien is taking second place at the moment. It's literally a Venturi 1-2. So yeah, Venturi's now is now on top with taking a 1-2 at the moment.
Indeed so, and so far Venturi doing very well, it must be said. And, well, Andretti, as we talked about there, will be hoping that they can just at least have a good season in Group 3 to maybe try and get themselves back into Group 2 for next season.
Yeah, honestly, I hope Andretti comes back into Group 2. I think one of the wait, was it Koji? Yeah, I think it was one of the Cheon brothers made one of the right decisions when leaving the team because to be honest, I think Andretti was literally falling apart as they were driving the car, and even though they got pole position at Tyrrell, they got a 5-place grid penalty. That really sums up the season last year.
Yeah, indeed, and for some reason my YouTube chat was telling me that I disconnected for some reason, but clearly I didn't because I was still talking to Blake. So for some reason my YouTube was playing up there a little bit, so a little bit bizarre if you ask me, but there we are. Anyway, as so far the stream has actually been running okay, Blake, to be honest with you, so no real issues, I should say.
Yeah.
So you can breathe a sigh of relief on that.
I mean,
you can breathe a sigh of relief on that.
Is that the stream has got a bit up and down, as literally up and down to trajectory the entire time. I mean, I just watched the replay back now. It's a bit laggy, but I mean, honestly, it could be worse. I could disconnect at any point because the internet is.
Yeah,
so
indeed.
goddamn
Well, I
sensitive.
haven't. To be fair, I haven't seen any frame drops, to be honest, when I've been looking at it. So I think we've passed that point of disaster. So I guess that's a plus, I guess. So anyway, Anyway, might as well look back at the action now. Then we're looking at Daniel Adventure, who's now over at Audi after spending a season with Mercedes. And given that Mercedes have been promoted to a Group 2 team, really, Adventure made the right decision in swapping to Audi in the end.
Not gonna lie, I think he did make a right decision. Right, let's go through that. I think we only have 10 minutes left of the session. Though half of us were just talking about the countdown and the drivers. Right, I think we should do like an onboard.
Yep.
I think later. When the car's passing the finish line, I think we should wait for Adventure to finish his lap.
Yeah, indeed, and he's just actually up on his personal best in the middle section, as you just alluded to there. So let's see what Daniel Adventure is able to do as he now comes around the final corner. Now, then, with just over 10 minutes to go in this session, let's see what Adventure can do then in the Audi. He currently finds himself in 6th position. So Adventure now, then, if you look in the cockpit of the Audi driver, he crosses the line and goes into 4th position. So he actually gains a few places there and slots behind Zachary Fitzwater, who's in the Jaguar at the moment. The Jaguar's currently 3rd and looking where Griffiths is. He's currently 12th at the moment. So clearly Griffiths still having to get used to the Formula E car at the moment after spending a number of seasons in the top class for the last few seasons, where it's safe to say Griffiths really struggled last season, and as we talked about when we went through the driver lineup, Blake, he's definitely determined to try and revitalise his career.
Yeah, hopefully Fitzwater. I mean, Jamie Griffiths. Sorry, Fritzy. I think Jamie Griffiths. Hopefully, he can reevaluate his career because at the moment, it's literally like do or die for him at the moment in Formula E, and I think he's just gained a 300 tenths of a second in the first sector. So, I mean, I think he's finally got something right in the Jaguar car, but in front of him is Adrian Schlegel.
Yeah, indeed, and I'm just trying to look at what's going on the screen. Okay, we did have a lag spike there, but that was it. So that was the big lag spike that we just had just that moment ago. But yeah, all good at the moment. So anyway, looking now at Jamie Griffiths now, then he's currently getting stuck behind one of the Porsches here from the looks of things. So that might actually explain why he's a little bit down in the field at the moment. But he's still up on his personal best, as you can see on the dev panel on the top of his screen there. So yeah, very interesting there, it must be said. But yeah, that's pretty much that really as we look at things so far, as Jamie Griffiths now then just making his way in towards the final corner now. Then we will go, and let's see if he's still able to improve regardless, though, in the Jaguar, and he doesn't improve. In fact, he in fact misses out by well, in fact, I wonder if that Porsche may have had a little bit because he's still in 12th position at the moment.
I mean, to be honest, he did. Let me just check. OBS for like 1 second. Just for some reason, it's going green and the stream's a bit off. Damn,
it might be because you've had the lag spike, the frame drops. It might be because it's a little bit behind on the stream, but for us, it's okay. So don't worry about it too much, Blake. So anyway, as now we look at how the others are doing. We have just 7.5 minutes to go, so we might as well look at the leaderboard at the moment then whilst some stuff is going on. So this is what the leaderboard currently looks like then as we get to the closing stages of this pre-season test. He's Coach Chun Cheong at the top of the moment with Alex Eric Lucin in 2nd. Zachary Fitzwater is in 3rd with Daniel Adventure 4th. Jay McKenzie is in 5th with Coach Cheong in 6th. Miran FG is currently in 7th with Cesar Cohen Jr. in 8th. So 7th and 8th for the two Mahindras at the moment, followed by Ruslan Protsuk in 9th. Owen Carpenter is in 10th, followed by Marilla Souza, who's in 11th, with Jamie Griffiths 12th. Rosetta Martinez is in 13th, with Alan Jefferson 14th. Dylan Allen is in 15th, with Matt Patacek in 16th. Bella Nuavel 17th, with Nguyen Minh Quan in 18th. And then it's Hoang Minh Nguyen in 19th, with Jacobus Skaratis in 20th, Adrian Schlegel in 21st, and Phan Duc Liu in 22nd and last. 2.7 seconds off of Coach Chun Cheong at this stage at the moment. But so far, Coach Chun with quite a big advantage at the top of the timing screens.
And also, Jamie Griffiths just dropped the time, and now he's up into 8th place, but still in the middle of the two Mahindras.
Yeah, indeed, as Lou now goes to 21st now then, so gets above Adrian Schlegel, who's in the Porsche at the moment, and teammate Nguyen Minh Quan currently in 19th position at the moment, as we have just over 6 minutes to go in this session. Griffiths went up into 8th place whilst we were talking there, so he's able to get his Jaguar now into the top 10, so 3rd and 8th now for the two Jaguar drivers. Of course, this team looking to try and retain the title, but will they be able to do so with their new lineup, do you think, Blake?
Honestly, I have no idea, but I know for a fact Jamie Griffiths and Zachary Fitzwater are two experienced drivers in their respective series, so I think Jaguar has a good lineup, but now the problem is with Jaguar is that if they're gonna execute it right, if they execute it wrong, we know for a fact where Jamie Griffith's going. I'm not gonna say it because it's mostly overused on Twitter, so I'm not gonna say it.
I think it often gets overused on Discord as well,
Yeah,
Blake, if
well.
I'm being totally honest. But yeah, anyways, meanwhile, Griffiths does go up now into 7th position, but it's still over a second behind Coach Chun Cheong's Venturi at the moment, as in fact a car comes into the pit lane, that being Kochi Cheong, Coach Chun's brother, who's currently in, where is he at the moment? He's currently in 6th position at the moment in the Audi. Just finds himself 100th behind Jay McKenzie, and Griffiths having difficulty trying to overtake the Audi here, but not able to do so at the moment, as we have just under 5 minutes now left in this session. As now we look at what is going on in the. Well, we're now looking at the man who's currently at the top of the leaderboard at the moment, Coach Chun Cheong, in the Venturi, with the Siemens Venturi races, as we now got to call it, not Rocket Venturi anymore, as you can see with the new sponsor on the side there, which I think works well. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the, well, I would say the Petronas logo, but obviously Siemens carries a similar colour, so you can understand where the colour scheme for that came from, really. But I think it's come out quite well, in fact. Got to pride myself for that one. And you would have seen as well that Audi have got a new sponsor on the side pod as well, DHL. It's not a title sponsor, of course. It's because obviously last season, you may remember when they had Robert Ionescu in the team last season, he's obviously, and still is, a Red Bull reserve driver, and obviously had Red Bull on the side pod as a result of that. But now that Robert Ionescu's moved over to World Champ Car, obviously I've replaced it now with a different sponsor. I've just decided to put DHL, which was already an existing sponsor on the Audi anyway, so I just thought might as well just put another DHL sponsor on the side pod anyway. It kind of made sense to me in my head, really. But anyway, in fact, a little bit of a story, in fact, and obviously Blake knows about this because originally, when Yuri sent those liveries over to Blake, they were mirrored because I accidentally forgot to get the logos corrected, really, because obviously GP4 likes to read textures mirrored, of course, and when I sent them to Yuri so that Yuri could then send them over to Blake, the Audi and the Venturi ended up having mirrored sponsors, so I had to go back and get them fixed. But I eventually got them sorted, which is a good thing. And it wasn't too much of a disaster in the end. But it did. I did actually see an image that Yuri actually sent me of that, and it did look a little bit weird. I must put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so cursed that I thought my eyes were bleeding. I'm not gonna lie, sorry. I just gotta put that out there.
Yeah. It wasn't an error on your end, Blake. Don't worry about that. It was an error on my part because I forgot to flip the logo the right way around, basically. Or in my case, it'd be the wrong way around because, as I said, the game likes to read all the textures in mirrored on some occasions, depending on what the texture is, really. And I think all the sponsors for the Formula E textures like to be mirrored. So that's that, really. Some prefer it when it's not mirrored, but others prefer it mirrored, and that's why it can get a little bit confusing when applying textures onto. Yeah, we might as well. We might as well go for a lap with Jamie Griffiths in the Jaguar now. Then let's have a look at a lap then this track. Of course, the last time we went here, of course, was 2020 for the Formula E pre-season test, from what I remember. And let's have a look. So Griffiths comes out of the first corner now. Then it's quite a quick corner, it must be said. It comes at you, blink of an eye, lifted acceleration, but you have to slow it all the way down in towards turn number 2 now then, as they come out of the corner, then heading your way through this quick left-right sequence, although this part you have to slow the car down, but you approach the end of the first sector at this point in time, and this part kind of a mirror of the previous corners, really, as Griffiths goes 71 thousandths up on his personal best with just under 2 minutes to go in this session now then. Around this long swimming left-hander, and which is actually not the corner where Valentino Rossi fell off in MotoGP. It's actually the second left-hander on the racetrack, of course, which actually cost him the 2006 title. Around the hairpin we go, and then this long swooping hairpin, past the bit where the Formula E drivers in real life cut through, but we're obviously using the long version of Ricardo Tormo, so we shouldn't have to worry too much about that. 1/10 up in the middle sector, around this long swooping hairpin, a slow part of the track as we now get towards this very quick right-hander area. You could probably lift off the acceleration, take a lot of the curve on the inside and a lot of it on the outside as well, as you go around this long swooping right-hander now before you head your way in towards this final corner now on the racetrack, slowing it all down through the final turn and onto the pit straight now. Then we'll go Jamie Griffiths. He's using a bit of slipstream from the Andretti as we complete a lap of the second Ricardo Tormo here at Valencia. Is this going to be improved for Griffiths? It is, and up into the 7th place he goes, gets above Mir and FG at the process. We have just under a minute to go, and of course we'll be keeping an eye on to see who will be the last across the line, so before the end of the session comes to a close, of course, because obviously if you know GP4, it likes to continue going until everybody's laps have run out, or until they come back into the pit, I should say. But like with Yuri, I guess we'll be keeping an eye on who's going to cross the line last. It looks like Kwan is getting held up here by one of the Mercedes drivers as they make their way through the right and left-hander. Bellanueville, this is that we are looking at in the Mercedes. I think Kwan might go for an overtake into the final corner here, and I think he's going to actually complete the move, which he does. So clearly some Group 2 fighting going on here between the Virgin and the Mercedes here, as Bella Neuville's finishing off her session as she comes back into the pits. As Kwan crosses the line, and I don't think that was an improvement. There's 15 seconds left on the clock now then. So now we have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and now it is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and 0. Checker flag is out. That's the end of the session. And Coach Chun Cheong was the last car to cross the line. So, of course, we will keep an eye on when Coach Chun Cheong crosses the line, and then that will be the end of the session. Martinez is just getting some mileage, so we might as well look at these two fighting. This is Griffiths and one of the Andretti cars. I think it's Marilla Souza that he's fighting with here. It is Souza, and Griffiths gets through into the final corner, but he wasn't improving anyway, as they make their way onto the pit straight now then we will go, and both Griffiths and Souza cross the line now then, and neither of them improve as a result. Kochi Cheong doesn't improve, so no improvement for Kochi, as he's still in 6th position. Fan Duc Lu in the Neo car now then, making his way in towards the final corner now then. He will go, as he will now make his way onto the pit straight now then. He will go, as Sakri Fitzwater is just behind, as is Alex Eric Lucien and Dylan Allen. And neither of those guys in front improve. Can Dylan Allen? No, he can't. He doesn't improve in the Andretti, as, of course, we're now waiting for I think it's not Nagumi Kwan, it's this guy to cross the line last, that being Coach Chun Cheong in the Venturi now. Then, of course, he's at the top of the session, as now he just makes his way around this long, swooping left-hander now. Then he will go, as he'll now make his way in towards the final corner and onto the pit straight. He will go now then on this Grade 1 circuit, of course. Formula 1 can technically have a race here if they wanted to, but they obviously choose not to. Coach Chun Cheong across the line, no improvement, and that is the pre-season test done with Coach Chun Cheong at the top, Alex Eric Lucien in 2nd, and Zachary Fitzwater in 3rd. And pretty soon Blake will go and press the escape button to take us back to the little menu to conclude the session. So overall, Venturi looking pretty quick, Blake.
Yeah, I wasn't freaking expecting Venturi to be that quick, because I was expecting Venturi to be kind of there, but then I realized, oh man, Venturi could be at its peak here. So yeah, I'm actually a bit surprised with Venturi, but I wouldn't say it's their proper race pace, but hopefully they can translate that into a really good result at the start of the season into Lagos in 2 weeks' time, because obviously I will not be here this weekend because I'll be in Yorkshire.
Yeah, he was originally meant to go to London, but he's actually going to Croft because of key 2 words, train strikes. So blame that for why he's not going to London this weekend. But anyway, just to answer Trey's question before we go off the air, the reason why there's no pre-season test for World Champ car is because of timing on Yuri's end. That's the reason for that. But anyway, that has been it then for the first pre-season test of Formula E. Did you enjoy your first stream, Blake?
It was stressful, but at least we got there in the end. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed, but the big test will come not this weekend, but next weekend, of course, when you host your first qualifying and race, of course, over at Sao Paulo. Hopefully it'll be a good race when we get there. But that has been it then for pre-season testing for Formula E. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. A very interesting session indeed. And Venturi looking very quick as a Group 1 car indeed. But that has been it then. I hope you enjoyed it. As Blake mentioned, the first race for Formula E will take place not this Sunday, but the Sunday after. So on the 6th of August, which will be the Sao Paulo E-Prix over at Interlagos. So do look forward to that. Of course, don't forget tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. BST, we'll have the final day of top-class pre-season testing over at Spielberg before the start of the new season. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it, so thank you all for watching. I'm JW97. He's been the new Formula E host, Blake, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Here we go. Goodbye.